interesting to see that come out again today. I'm not sure how the Gragas would go up against somebody like Someday. Might have a little bit of a harder time pulling that one off, but
I don't think they care. It's just a tank. Like, whatever. It doesn't matter that much. Nixu's been good on it. I think the main thing is, can they take it away from Score? Because Score is a fantastic Gragas player, and that will certainly be one of the champions on the forefront of his mind. And is that ban going to come in right away from KT? They did beat Hongdu in one of their games with Mickey Zed, and a typical ban for this potent assassin mid laner.
Nothing too shocking taking that one off the board. Mickey, unfortunately, last time we saw him, wasn't able to beat SKT again. And Faker had a, not so much smack talk, just said, you know, I practice hard all the time. Like, I don't know what Mickey's talking about. I always try hard.
Didn't need to tell Mickey to try hard.
Yeah.
He's Faker. Well, LeBlanc going to be the next ban. They're really targeting Mickey's champion pool here. And that means Score is probably going to get his hands on Graves or Kindred, which is fine. He'll be happy with either of those, but I'd be really surprised if we didn't see a first-round draft of the Gragas from the AFREECA Freeks. No Corki for Fly. Now, giving over the Poppy is extremely dangerous, especially if you don't ban the Zillion, because KT will play that super dive composition.
Yep.
They played the Vayne Zillion Poppy combination against Longzhu, and they absolutely wrecked Longzhu with it. The game score ended 14-0 in terms of kills. So you do just want to remove that right away, and it is time to ban out Mickey, apparently. Lulu's still up, though, which he played in his last couple of games.
Yeah, we could see that one make a return. But the Varus, and you know, one of those other champions that has just been really coming back in a heavy way. We saw Edge pulling that out earlier on just a couple weeks ago, and that started drawing bans because he had a great performance. But other mid laners across most teams have been picking up this Varus again, and it's really just harkening back to last season. The Poppy makes it through, though. Trundle is going to be the last ban here from AFREECA Freeks, and yeah, of course, it's just going to be the Poppy locked in immediately.
Most teams would take Kalista, but KT will take Poppy, and they're just going to take Nautilus Gragas here. Great flex picks for the AFREECA Freeks. If you ban that Trundle, you have an impressive tank line. Now, I expect that this Nautilus is going to be played in the support role, and the Gragas will be played top, and then they're going to play Lulu and then Graves and an AD carry if they do this. Or Lulu and Kindred in an AD carry.
Could be. To lock this in, though, this does just pass the Kalista back over to KT if they want to draft that.
That's what they're deciding right now, is whether they want that to happen or not.
Because they could just snatch up the Kalista and maybe go for something like an Alistar, which is also potentially making it through the first pass here from AFREECA. So could have that Kalista Alistar bot lane, maybe a Kalista Braum, but you know, very consistent duos.
I like what they're doing, though. I think taking the Nautilus Gragas, take the 2 flex picks here. That way you can hide your draft from KT. Ooh, interesting. Very early Azir for Fly.
Very early Azir. So just going to go ahead and get snatched up blind here for Fly. So a lot of confidence.
I mean, pretty safe blind pick, especially when you've already banned the Zed. Like,
true. Very true.
It's fine.
Harder to deal with him.
So taking a look at Fly's picks. Fly's played a lot of champions this season, but Zillion, Lux, and Lissandra his most played. This is going to be his first Azir game.
See the hover over the Bard Lucian potentially for the bot side, which would mean that this is a top lane Nautilus or mid lane Nautilus. More than likely the top lane Nautilus.
Yeah, I don't know what they would be doing for their mid lane then. Maybe a Victor here for Mickey.
Could be.
Yeah, playing Lulu, you'd be really worried about late game damage output here. You'd be putting a lot of emphasis on Songyun, which, to be fair, has been well warranted from the AFREECA Freeks this season. It's not like they've been doing poorly when they really focused around helping Songyun to carry.
They should bring out Talon. Mickey's Talon.
All right, I'm up for anything. I'm up for anything. Braum.
I think that'd be a fun game.
And the Kindred, no surprise. So this is quite a CJ-esque composition coming in from KT. Wait for that Kindred, of course, and Score had a lot of great games on Kindred in the early parts of the season, and then Kindred was banned for a while, and nobody could play it. But as of late, there haven't been so many Kindred games for KT ROLSTER, but Score was quite good when he used that Lamb's Respite, and he's going to get it again. So heavy tower diving here coming in from KT, and they are good at tower diving with Poppy and Alistar. They've got a lot of follow-up dashes with the Callista, Azir, and the Kindred. AFREECA going to have to be quite wary when it comes to the mid game that KT don't just start all-inning them under the turrets.
You can see really taking their time with this last pick. Cover comes in for the gangplank.
That could work, but they would be pretty heavy on the AD emphasis. And against the big Poppy and Alistar. But the Lulu, Lulu isn't bad here. You just have to have a lot of confidence that Songyun is going to carry this game.
Yeah, you did mention that we could see this picked up here.
I think Victor's a better pick. I think it's a safer pick.
Oh,
okay. Wow. He's been hovering over this all season, and I actually thought it was a good pick. When they played last week, they had a Braum Yasuo that they could have run against a poke composition, and that actually would have been quite good. I don't know that much about the Yasuo-Azir matchup. On paper, it doesn't seem great.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot that you really block.
The wind wall doesn't seem like it'd be really that useful. But I also don't know whether wind wall can block Azir ultimate or not.
That's a good question.
Yeah,
actually,
it's a really good question. I don't know.
Maybe the Emperor's Divide could be blocked.
It would stop at the wind wall.
Yeah, I imagine that the wind wall does act as it does against an Orianna ball, where it just stops in front. So maybe the Sand Soldiers...
They would stop in front,
yeah, the Sand Soldiers would stop there.
And it would stop Azir coming in on the E. Well, it's going to be interesting. I know nothing about this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, if Fly wants to get in onto Mickey, he's going to have to bend and weave his way around those wind walls.
Could be exciting.
I think so. This is a great draft to kick the day off with.
It is, and they have a lot of knockups with the top lane Nautilus ultimate, of course, and the Gragas ult. So they've got some good setup here for the Yasuo. We've been waiting for him to play this. He's been hovering it all season. I actually think it was a better pick last week when they could have run, like I said, Braum Yasuo against a poke composition. But they got the win versus Samsung anyway, and now we're going to see what exactly Mickey can do in this matchup versus Azir. Very curious, but very exciting.
Yep. Definitely one to keep our eyes on and see how that's going to develop as we move forward through this game. Yasuo on the board. Let's see what happens. Game 1, KT versus AFREECA coming right up. Alrighty, here we go.
I guess we're just going to look at Fly.
We're just going to zoom into his face. Oh, we have a pause coming out, actually, is what it was.
All right, that was a little weird.
Yeah, they had to fast forward the game up to the pause, so we'll figure out what the issue is, looks like.
So it might be Snowflower.
Yeah, Snowflower here on AFREECA, maybe having some issues. Looks like he connected all right, so I don't know if it's maybe a mouse or keyboard type issue.
Someday is eager to terrorize his opponents with Poppy. And man, this guy's had some fantastic games on Poppy. My favorite game was still the one where in the first 10 minutes, he ended 2-0-2, and he had killed the enemy jungler, the mid laner, and the bottom lane, and just like left lane, and just left the other top laner up there. Just killed everybody else on the map. It was pretty fun to watch. Looks like Snowflower's going to be backing out of the game. Getting reconnected here.
Yeah, so maybe just a couple issues here for the guys. Gonna get that squared away and get straight back into this one, but let's go ahead and talk about this bot lane here, because we do have the Callista. We saw it hovered for the first pick, didn't come in immediately.
They got it anyway.
You get the Callista, Alistar bot lane. Really desirable champions in both regards. Most of the time we see this snatched up in the first rotation on either side. Going up against this Lucian Bard, do you think we're going to be seeing a lane swap coming out from these guys, or do you think that it's kind of evenly matched.
I think that there probably should be a lane swap coming out if you don't want to face that Callista in lane, which is generally pretty smart. Remember, we are still on patch 6.5, so this is not 6.6 where some of those changes to Callista are going to be coming through.
And Alistar.
And Alistar, that's a very good point.
Yep. So,
yes.
Not going to have it.
It's a ROLSTER with a Baron, nice.
Yeah. It's that or a very long Cogmaw.
long cog.
It kind of looks like the same. They kind of look the same.
They do. Well, I guess they're both supposed to be void monsters or something like that. I'll score. Tired of this pause. I'm tired of this pause too. I just want to see Yasuo, especially with KT.
Yeah.
They've opted, of course, to run double exhaust, which you would expect against a Yasuo. And so what is Mickey going to be able to do with this champion? We know how good he is mechanically on some of these other assassin-style picks. And I don't know what Yasuo skin that is because I haven't seen it before.
That's a good question. Maybe, is there Chroma Yasuo skins?
Is that like a Blood
Or
Moon?
maybe a Blood Moon?
I think
maybe
it's a Blood Moon Yasuo.
Maybe there's a Blood Moon Yasuo that I missed. I don't know. I need to go back. I need to look at all of the skins on my account now that I own literally every skin in League of Legends.
Special shout out to Riot Games, right?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it is a Blood Moon. I can see like the mask that he's got going on there. But yeah, because I was always missing the PAX TF skin, and now it's like, oh, I have this now.
You just made everybody jealous.
Yeah, I had the Sivir one. I got that one fair and square as well as Jax, but TF was the one that evaded me.
Well, that one's from like 2010 or something.
Yeah, the very beginning of the game, their first couple of years at PAX. So it's nice to have those. But Mickey looking like he's just going to go for some early aggression here.
Yeah, he's taking grasp of the end.
Dash through. Ooh, really nice bait here by Hachani. Starts with the pulverize. Snowflower going to take a bit of damage. They're dashing forward, but he's going to get stunned up.
Yeah, that Thunderlords from the Bard doing quite a bit early on. Interesting that Mickey is taking grasp of the Undying here, looking for that sustain in lane versus the Sand Soldiers. So I was curious which Keystone Mastery he is going to be running, and that is it.
Oh, here we go, though. Score fading in onto Lyra. We
familiar.
saw something really similar yesterday. He's going to come straight out of the bush and should be able to shove him off with this red buff. Yeah. So it won't result in a first blood on the Gragas this time. I guess it's because it's not Peanut playing. But
also, it's not level 3, and the pathing here not quite as poor or greedy from Lyra. Instead, this is just a gromp into the red buff. So Score is using that early power of Kindred Grass and the fact that he got that red buff picked away, and Score going to go ahead and burn a smite right there. Arrow having to be very careful. Early use of the heal.
Yeah, taking a lot of damage. He'll already pop that.
I mean, that's a big mistake. They knew that Songyan and Snowflower were going to be hitting that level 2 faster, and they were playing too far forward. Of course, that Thunderlord's damage from the Bard in the first couple of levels is absolutely brutal to hold back for a little while. So 14-4, early CS lead, and the AFREECA Freeks doing a good job of dealing with KT's duo lane.
Yeah. And you know, this kind of started off of that gank, or that setup at least in the jungle that KT had with Hachani, and they just was good on AFREECA Freeks to turn that around and come out on top of that trade. And now you can see they're just punishing Arrow as much as possible in this bot lane.
Good pathing from Score, though. I like how he came all the way back to his red buff to prevent the invade. He also knew that his bottom lane was going to be pushed in and was losing these trades, and so by coming down there faster, he eliminated the possibility of them roaming into the jungle as they tried to do to take away that red buff, and that means that he will get the 3 buff in the end. So a little bit of an advantage right there to Score.
Yeah, and that'll help him, you know, maybe impact this bottom side and turn it around for his team, because KT, they are getting back on pace here, evening up the CS as best as they can. Fly going to get aggressed on here by Mickey, who's just weaving his way through these minions to get into the face of that Azir.
A little bit of a knock-up. Doran's shield too, and so with the grasp of the Undying and the Doran's shield, he has a lot of sustain in this lane, so he can make those aggressive trades, moving in, and still be able to heal right back up afterwards. So also in this top lane, early recall from Ixu. He went back and picked up another Doran's ring and a pink ward. Same thing for Someday.
Yeah,
usually we don't see them leaving lane quite this early. Someday starting with the Ruby Crystal and Cloth Armor, probably building into the fast Sunfire Cape, so not really respecting the magic damage coming out of Ixu here. No cowl to start things off.
Yeah, and that could harm him a little bit in these trades since it is the double Doran's ring here for Ixu. But so far, Someday doing a pretty solid job. Just looking at the health bars on the screen, he is chunking him down in these trades and getting a little bit of a CS lead, but he's shoving into that tower, so we'll see how much Ixu can pick up. We'll keep our eye on that number. Mickey, though, going in against Score, but can dash straight back in through those minions. Throws down the wind wall as well for good measure. So it only takes a little bit of damage.
Yeah, Kindred's still there. Lyra, though, wants to catch up and farm. It's been a lot taken away. Fly's going to find him there.
I think he actually got all three of the little minions, too.
Yeah, Lyra going to get the big one. But yes, more and more farm denied from Lyra. No, Lyra did get the small ones right there.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Just, I was looking at his CS score, so got all 4 from that camp, and just some deep boards going in. So
Oh, nicely picked up.
trying to get the bot lane dominance really rolling here. I mean, Arrow having to burn that heal that early was highly problematic, and even though they tried to get the drop on Songyun and Snowflower, the Thunderlords at level 1 for Bard is just a huge amount of damage. Way higher than pretty much any other support.
Yeah, and Snowflower's been landing those stuns so far from what we've seen in Cosmic Bindings, just constantly connecting onto both Arrow and Hachani, so it makes for really easy trades with the Piercing Light from the Lucian. Add the double tap on top of that, and suddenly your Glyss is down below half HP.
Yeah, the burst definitely way up there. Zeal first for Mickey. Pretty clear you're going to want to go for a static shiv. You need some form of wave clear against the Azir, or else he's just going to push into your turret and knock it down by using his Sand Soldiers. Now we see Kindred coming in for a gank, and this is Ixu being quite low. This is not looking good for him. There is nobody to help.
Score's not level 6 though, so they have to be really careful with this dive. It's going to be the stun into the wall here onto Ixu. Somebody's still tanking this one up. Score getting popped up by the depth charge. Will be able to finish him off, but he's slowed out. Nice dash away. Will take him to safety, but barely so. Has to chug on that potion to keep himself alive. But that's going to be first blood going over to KT.
Yeah, really good leash there from Someday on the top side to go ahead and secure that kill. Ixu chose the right target, but it just wasn't enough damage to actually take Score out. And like you said, playing with fire a little bit without that level 6 and the Lamb's Respite, but he makes it work anyway. Lyra going to respond just with some tower damage, trying to magnify the advantage to the edge that they have already in the pressure on this bottom side, but they're not going to get a whole lot for it.
Yeah, not really. You can see though both the mid and bot lanes for KT are struggling a little bit here. Similar CS leads for the side of AFREECA in those roles. But top lane really making up for pretty much both of them with a near 20 CS lead for Someday, plus that assist gold that he has coming in. And Score, we can see Double Dagger already picked up. He's going to be having that Devourer and getting that stacked up very soon.
Someday here, again, just going through with his completion of the Sunfire. He wants to push, he wants to put on the pressure, and Ixu still has flash.
Oh, nice deny on that dredge line, keeping him here. Forces out the flash, they flash in as well, dash him and charge him away from the tower, and he goes down yet again. Great revisit there by Score, finds another kill.
And gets the flash too, so everything going well. Nice ult from
yeah,
Bard.
That's going to be the ultimate from Bard, locking both Hachani and Arrow, but Arrow fortunately did make it far enough back that he was not going to have too much follow-up onto him. Score having to dash away from Lyra, though, trying to get into the welcoming arms of Someday so that he can remain safe. Lyra's still on the chase. It's going to be Mickey roaming up as well. We'll see if AFREECA want to go for this one. Ixu's there. That's going to be the knock-up with the cask. Ultimate from Mickey, who has a dash out as Fly has just arrived, but Score is still going to find the kill on the backside of that one onto Lyra, who goes down. Mickey waiting over the wall. Don't think he wants to go back in on this one. Ixu taking a lot of damage. Flash is down. Gets the dredge line over to the tower. That should be enough to keep him alive. Someday still playing for it. Throws out the shield. Almost gets the kill. Mickey dashes so far forward. Almost goes down for it. Looks like he will. Fly with the last auto attack. Takes him in. A nice dredge line from Ixu. Will equalize this kill. Score goes in. He goes down as Snowflower has roamed all the way to the top side. And overall, it's going to be a 3 for 3.
Well, that was a little sloppy, but
very sloppy indeed.
They did actually make some interesting plays right there, especially Fly. Now watch what he does. Score first off, so he gets the Lamb's Respite down. Now watch Fly. He's going to come over the wall, and great ult to keep Lyra out of the Lamb's Respite heal and make sure they can follow it up. Then they're going to try, get some more damage down to Ixu. Score attempting to get away from these damaging Krugs. Ixu gets over, down underneath the turret, and Mickey's going to try and turn this around. Someday takes a little bit too much turret damage. They drop the exhaust onto Mickey, and then they get greedy. Fly coming in. Someday, though, is going to, I'm not even sure how he died. I think he just
He
died
kills him with a depth charge.
Was it the depth charge
Yeah,
that
I think
actually
he
killed him?
Yeah, I think he kills him with a depth charge as he gets the dragon on fly.
Gotcha.
Turret shots finish him off, and then Score just dives deep, and they all go down. Mickey, though, getting engaged onto this mid side. 3 members of KT here to follow up. He's trying to dash through him, but he cannot make it out.
How did
it's going to be Fly picking up the kill.
How did Mickey dash through the Poppy W?
That is a good question.
Because he definitely was inside the circle of the Steadfast presence when he was dashing.
Hidden feature.
Maybe. That's what it looked like to me, at
Riot
least.
did not prepare for the Yasuo Poppy matchup.
Perhaps not.
In games.
Perhaps not. But, I mean, okay, so to talk about Sunday's build just a little bit, he is pretty far up when it comes to gold right now. Score is really far ahead of Lyra, and he's having another great game on this Kindred, which we've come to expect from him. But when we look at the damage that's coming out of AFREECA, if Someday wants to roam on the map early and translate this advantage to other lanes, go ahead and use that teleport perhaps when it comes up again. The overwhelming amount of damage from AFREECA is going to be attack damage, and that means that, of course, armor itemization is going to be quite effective in this particular game, and that's the downside of picking this Yasuo instead of, say, that Victor in the mid lane, is that you're not going to have much of a late game against what KT is bringing to bear, especially with the Lamb's Respite. You're not going to be able to execute somebody or burst them down really with the Yasuo, and then once the Zhonya's Hourglass comes in onto the Azir, it's not really anything. He doesn't really have anybody to attack at that point. And Arrow can even, in this game, he can build the Sterix. That'd be fine.
Johnny with Roma over to this Dragon Pit. Lyra taking a lot of damage, has to body slam away to try and get the safety. Johnny throws up the ultimate, gonna try to re-engage. Fly throws in the Sand Soldiers, takes down the Gragas. Dragon is gonna reset. Score coming around the sidelines. Might be able to collapse onto this tower here. There's no TP available for Someday. He's hovering around in that mid lane. Mickey though gets jumped on. The exhaust comes across on the Score, but it doesn't even matter because Fly and Hachani are there to follow up, and they find another kill. 8-3. KT taking a very strong lead in this game.
Just a bloodbath. This game, 11 minutes, 11 kills. They're finally going to go over and get a dragon, but KT is just constantly contesting all of these objectives, trying to dive under turrets when they have an advantage, and try and taking up the enemy red buff and invade in that top side, and it's really paid off. Score and Fly have been there every time and have been doing a lot of work.
Yep. Xu trying to trade some damage on Someday. He'll play a decent bit down, but still pretty safe. And look at that CS lead that Someday's accrued for himself. 30 CS up over top of this Nautilus. The constant revisits by Score just doing so much work for the Poppy.
And he's built Ninja Tabby too, which doesn't really help him against the burn damage coming through from the Sunfire. So AFREECA now, they decide to send 4 people into the top side. They're like, screw this, maybe we can at least get a kill onto Someday, or take down a turret and make something out of this game. Try and recover some of that lost gold. Score and Hachani now coming to the top side of the map to defend the turret. Someday sticking around.
And he's going to stick around, but here comes 2 members of KT. It's going to be the depth charge over onto Score, who's staying alive. And Johnny flashes away, trying to get the safety. Nice Lamb's Respite to keep him alive, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Tower's not even aggroing onto AFREECA right now, so they don't take any shots during that exchange. Nice cast into the knockup by Mickey, and he goes down. So 2 kills picked up for AFREECA, just like that, turning the gauge back in their favor.
AFREECA deciding that they just need to go ahead and 5-man one of these lanes to get that gold disadvantage just a little bit smaller, and it actually works because KT didn't have a presence at the bottom side. They couldn't take a cross-map objective, and now as a result of that, they're only 800 gold down. Fly also roaming up instead of putting pressure on the mid lane turret. They're going to do what he can to even this up, but he is not going to burn through that tower on this wave.
It's a very weak Callista right now with only the Blade of the Rune King, so.
Yeah, the later this game goes, though, I mean, AFREECA, they have to get a big gold lead now, because even if they take this game late, or they're able to make some sort of plays right now to delay KT's victory, once Arrow gets Maw and Sterix alongside the Hurricane and the Blade, they're not killing him. Once Fly gets the Zhonyas, they're not killing him, especially with the Lamb's Respite, and everybody else is going to be too tanky, and Yasuo will be 100% useless.
I'm ready for the triple inhib down, Nexus exposed, Hail Mary Yasuo play, where they just get a 5-man ultimate, they sweep through KT and win the game off of it.
And then KT just throws a Lamb's Respite down, and that's the end of that.
Pretty much. See, that not going to be much of an engage in that bottom side, but Lyra gets caught out here. Score going to find that kill with the help of Mickey, who dashes over the wall. Mickey to follow, though. Fly actually comes out on top of that one, but Songyun arrives and does finish off the Azir. So far, a 2-for-1 score on the run. Lamb's Respite not available, but Johnny is here to play CC. Very aggressive play by Snowflower. The auto attacks, he can't finish him off. Chugging on the potion,
So
he barely stays alive.
close.
Oh, Snowflower, almost with a hero play, just cannot equalize the kills.
Well, I like what we're seeing the AFREECA Freaks do. They're at least trying to get back into this game by being tricky and by using the advantages they have in that bottom side. The bottom lane has been the one that's been winning for them. Songyun picks up another kill, and so they just commit Ixu, who's already sort of lost this top lane, into attempting to use his crowd control to make picks with the people who are strong. And take a look at this one. Fly going to come through. Knocklear right in the wall, put him in a little box on the side. Fly going to flash over right here, move his Sand Soldiers, and then Mickey just standing in the crossfire.
Yeah, double Sand Soldier with the
Nashers.
Thunderlord's proc and everything in there with the Nashor's Tooth. That was just some filthy damage that Fly laid down onto Mickey's face.
Mickey decided that he's not going to be going for a Hex Drinker second or anything like that either. He's just going for more Zeal items.
Which is, I mean, it's Yasuo, sure, you need the crit, but Hex Drinker is such a good item right now.
I think Hex Drinker might be a good choice against this Azir.
Like, yeah, all things aside, like, obviously you want the crit items as quickly as you can possibly get them, but you also want to be able to live. So even that Hex Trigger would be very good.
Let's be real, even Merc Treads right now might be. You
Sure.
just buy the Merc Treads and, you know, suck it up for the time being before you can get that second Zeal down and really start to stack up that crit. But yeah, I don't think a Zeal immediately is going to be the right choice.
I agree. Arrow getting aggressive on. It's going to be the Bard ultimate coming down on top of him. Songyun already using the calling. Trying to follow up here. Arrow taking a lot of damage. Fate's Call gets popped. Throws in. It's a double pop up onto Snowflower and Lyra. Takes a magical journey away. Fly not going to be able to collapse in time in that bot side, so it will be the disengage. But a nice aggressive play by the side of AFREECA. Unfortunately, not able to get any kills out of it.
Yeah, they're continuing to punish Arrow, though. You can tell that AFREECA knows that their ticket to victory here is definitely Songyun at this stage, and they've got to keep him ahead. They've got to keep getting these turrets, and they are going to grab another one. So they pull back within about 500 gold. So AFREECA just barely hanging on, but they need a lot more. If they can get another turret here, it would be fantastic for them.
Well, they're going to go for the push. Someday is about to get teleport available in the next 2 seconds here.
Okay.
And there it is. That's going to be Ixu going for it, trying to get onto Hajani. A nice triple knock-up. He's taking a lot of damage. The Alistar ultimate not available, but Score has joined the fray, as is Someday. Gets a knock-up onto Songyun. They take the magical journey through, and this is KT sweeping the floor with AFREECA Freeks. Mickey trying to equalize something as he stands on the Lamb's Respite, but he goes down, and Someday will finish off the ace as he hounds down Lyra. And just like that, I think KT just put the nail in the coffin.
This game is ridiculous. I do understand why AFREECA is playing the way they are, though. They need to use this Yasuo, but...
This is really aggressive onto an Alistar.
Yeah, well, he didn't have ults, and neither did Arrow, so they knew that, so I actually like this play. They thought they could have the burst to go ahead and finish this one off, but Someday's just going to pop right in, knock up Songyun, head through the magical journey himself, and Fly's already there on the other side with his Sand Soldier wall at the exit. And I don't know how Mickey can actually dash in that steadfast presence. It really annoyed me. I didn't know you could actually do that. But apparently you can.
I don't know. Riot, please. Fix the Yasuo Poppy interaction. But yeah, what a crushing fight by KT ROLSTER. Second dragon of the game has spawned, and they're in a pretty decent spot to be able to go ahead and pick that up for themselves. You can see everybody coming off of that recall. Several key items coming in here. The Runaan's Hurricane has been completed by Arrow. You can see Riley's Crystal Scepter for Fly as well, so going for that aggressive yet defensive item.
Fly's been great on this Azir. His roams have been on point. His ultimates have been really good to sweep people off the Lamb's Respite or to sort of block off that magical journey, make it a little bit more difficult to fight on. Really like what we've been seeing from Fly. This is the kind of carry presence in the mid lane that KT has sorely lacked this season, and especially because the old iteration of KT ROLSTER with Nagne was a fantastic Azir when it came to team fighting. So it's good to see that hasn't been lost even with the roster changes, that they still have that weapon as a team.
Ixu trying to gather up as much CS as he can before he has to hightail it out of that top side of the map. Still suffering heavily in the matchup, and the rest of the lanes, you know, very small advantages over to AFREECA, but I'm pretty sure that Someday almost makes up for all 3 lanes, all 2 lanes plus the jungle.
I mean, small advantages, but there's a 1-5-4 Yasuo versus a 7-2-5 Azir, so I'll sacrifice, you know, 10 CS for that.
Oh, absolutely. Johnny goes in, gets a pop-up on the Snowflower. Someday waiting in the wings here in the river, but don't think he's going to be able to find the flank that he's looking for.
Indeed not. So KT, I mean, they got that early ace, but they couldn't do anything with it because there was no Baron spawn at the time. It was like, hey, came in at 18 minutes. Still got themselves a nice 4 or 5K gold lead from a game that was coming back and looking like it was going to be more even. Looks like it will be a Trinity Force for Mickey, second.
Interesting. So still just completely ignoring the possibility of the Hex Drinker, which has already been picked up by Score. So even with the very limited magic damage that's on the side of AFREECA, showing respect there and picking an item up. I mean, the Maul of Malwardy in any sense is a very good item, and yeah, good point. He's already sated. Yeah,
he's already sated. He actually has been for a couple minutes now, and with the kind of kill score that he's been able to just put together and kept up his farm at the same time, he's going to be quite dangerous. I do like the fact that he's going into Asterix Gauge next. I hope we see that from Arrow too. That way they are just entirely Yasuo proof.
Yeah. I think 2 of the kills and assists that he got were before he got the Devourer built. So the rest of those, I believe, went straight into getting sated.
So much. It's a lot of kills.
Yeah. Again, just one of the earlier sateds that we've seen. Peanut doing a really good job of that.
Ambition.
Yesterday, and Ambition, of course, I believe with the fastest ones you were talking about yesterday in the 17-minute range.
It might have been 17 minutes in this game. I wasn't actually looking. So with how much he's done on the map already, it wouldn't surprise me to see him score all the way up there.
To take a peek back at it after the game and see just what time he got that at. But doing much better than the rest of his peers who have been trying their hands at the Kindred Devourer.
How about the 30-plus minute Devourer, the dream?
Or the 37-minute game that never got sated. That was the worst.
That was a heartbreaker.
That.
But we have 21 kills in 22 minutes.
It hurt my heart watching it.
Not going to be the case in this one. The sated Devourer has been accelerated. Asterix Gauge now finished. KT setting up for a siege here with a couple of 80 carries in the Azir, protecting their rears with the Azir passive turret. They have the pressure, so they need to keep on pushing as best they can. Someday here in the bottom side, be very annoying. His Sunfire and his Iceborne Gauntlet slowly chipping away in the mid lane. Somebody has to go deal with Mickey though. And nobody can 1v1 him really. He may be a very behind Yasuo, but only Someday can deal with him.
Fly might be able to. Actually, speaking of Sunday, they go really aggressive. Tries to get the pop-up on the Song Yu. Not quite going to go through. And Johnny taking up this tower, going low with that ultimate there. Score gets grabbed up to the dredge line. Lamps Respite is there to keep him alive for the time being, still taking a lot of damage. Lamps Respite has to come out just to keep him alive. Fly gets popped in the cask, however. Mickey goes in for the kill. Fly is going to go down. Johnny to follow. Score as well. Lamps Respite already being burned out. He goes down. Arrow trying to do what he can with the Hurricane, trying to get as many stacks as he possibly can, but it's not going to do anything. Only gets 1 kill onto Mickey. Nice. What interaction was that? Somebody just knocking Snowflower back into his own magical journey. Finds a kill. Looks like he might be able to get another one, but he's out of mana, and Ixtu is here. The dredge line not going to connect. Someday going to have to go on the run.
He needs to buy time for his allies to respawn.
Yeah, don't think he's going to get out of this one. A nice stun over the wall by Snowflower. And that is going to be an ace, or an unofficial ace, onto KT. What was that What just happened?
I don't know. Song Yu also didn't get knocked up there for some reason.
He got, like, stunned, but it seemed like it was a graphic error where he didn't go into the air.
I've seen so many hidden features in this game, it's ridiculous. So, yeah, the Lamps Respite was early and not well placed, which allowed this play to happen with Lyra and Fly falling up with Mickey onto Fly right there. Score going to drop very early on, but KT, yeah, they gave the heal over to their opponents, didn't get the value out of the Lamps Respite by pushing too far forward. Yeah. And then Arrow also flashed in to kill Mickey.
Oh, we don't get to see the really bizarre Poppy interaction. It's like, I'm going to stun you so hard
you go back
into this wall that you go back into your magical journey. Not in my house.
This has been a really weird one for champion interactions.
Magic is banned here.
It's all right. We're over 1 kill a minute in this game. It's just a total bloodbath. A lot of mistakes for both of these teams. KT definitely should not have gone in at that point in time, and the use of the Lamb's Respite, normally very good from score, was pretty bad.
Yeah. It was also really rough engaged by Someday, going really deep.
I don't know.
Tower wasn't quite that low at the time of going in there.
Also, Songyun didn't get knocked up, but maybe sort of got stunned.
He was disabled. We'll call it a disable. And then Hachani just tanking up that, both of those towers at some point for a very long time, got burned even through the ultimate. So really poorly executed dive by KT. But not going to think about it too much. Going to go straight over to this dragon, net themselves the third. So on pace to be able to get a 37-minute 5th dragon. Should they be able to continue on this path. But making mistakes like that, it does allow AFREECA to potentially inch back into this game. Right now, they're still down by about 3.2 thousand gold. So not too much separating the teams. It's definitely surmountable, but it would take a lot of effort on the side of AFREECA and a lot of mistakes from KT. And
a lot of not actually buying the right items. And now that Someday has that Thorn Mail, it's even harder for AFREECA to do anything against him.
Yeah.
Steric's already coming through. Arrow actually going for armor penetration here. I disagree with this. I think you just go for the Steric's and say screw it.
Yeah.
And just play for the sustained damage in a team fight. You will burn through their big tank line eventually. You just need to survive the Yasuo burst.
Yeah, we'll see what Mickey's trying to pick up here. Just has a pickaxe in his bag right now. Could be going for Last Whisper as well to try to get through Hachani and Someday, but who knows? I'm not too sure how I feel about this build on Yasuo so far.
It is a good build. It's a really good build for dueling and split pushing, actually. That's what the Trinity Force is usually for on Yasuo, because you can just 1v1 people with the Sheen procs, and it's really effective. But if you want to go for the big team fighting ultimates, that's where the Infinity Edge is a lot better.
Yeah.
That's the big AoE team fighting Yasuo build, but instead they're going to say, okay, who can deal with this Yasuo? Unfortunately, if you start to fall that far behind on Yasuo, I don't think you go for the Trinity Force, and you don't try and go for these side lane duels, even if you're confident you can win, because Someday has to match with Ixu due to the fact that those are the two players with teleport. There aren't that many options, at least in the 1v1, and especially with the way Arrow is building for the Mortal Reminder.
Ah, interesting. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, and it was into a Kindred, and we're like, okay, we like the Mortal Reminder because you're negating a bit of the Lamb's Respite heal. I don't know what Arrow is doing. I think he's losing his goddamn mind because who is that for?
I guess Gragas passive? That's what I got.
I'm gonna nerf the hell out of your W. Your passive.
Because his passive heals him.
Yeah.
So.
But not that much. I mean, it's a good amount.
HP. I think it's 2% of total HP per spellcast.
Now I'm gonna make it 1%.
Yeah. Screw you, Lyra.
You cut back on your consumption.
I'm making your happy hour less happy.
You filthy alcoholic.
The Mortal Reminder is reminding him that his alcoholism is resulting in a shorter lifespan.
Yeah, you are very much.
I honestly have no idea what that Mortal Reminder is.
Towards your mortality. I don't know. That is a really odd choice by Arrow. I thought he was just gonna leave it at the Last Whisper. Maybe go for the Lord Dominic's Regard. But I thought it was going to be at least just the Last Whisper to sit for a while and then start building something else like the Steric's Gauge. But no. Arrow just
especially against
surprising us in all the worst ways.
Top Nautilus and Gragas, you would think that you would want the additional damage against tanks.
That's what I'm saying. I thought for sure Lord Dominic's Regards when that item was completed.
I have no explanation for this.
It wasn't to be so.
I have no explanation for most of this game, Achilles, so I'm just going to roll with it.
Arrow's like, you know what? This Mortal Reminder will not be the weirdest thing that we've seen in this game so far.
That's very true.
So why not? I'll just build it. Maybe it's another hidden feature, and it actually is a Lord Dominic's Regard that's bugged out the icon. Who knows?
Who knows? Maybe he clicked on the wrong item.
Could be. And then didn't realize it until after he left base and couldn't get a refund. Just pull a Kramer, just sell it. Just buy whatever you want. Get a rapid fire cannon, like.
How about a Steric Gauge? I think that'd be a great item.
No, that would definitely be the item. Yeah, please do not get a rapid fire cannon on Callista.
This clearing war is not actually going to be starting at this Baron. They have total vision control though, and they're going to lose that Azir passive in the mid lane. They're not actually contesting these wards that AFREECA are getting into the Baron pit.
Trying to bait him into that brush, but I don't know if AFREECA is that stupid.
I don't think they are.
To just walk into there.
Zhonya's Hourglass now done for Fly. So at least Fly knows how to build. Against the Yasuo, Nashor's into Rylai's into Zhonya's. This is what you want against Yasuo Burst.
Yeah. Though apparently if you're going to just base check a brush, the champion you do it on is Gragas. We saw Bubbling do that against Jin Air.
Yeah.
And it was great.
Or any champion if you're Hajani.
Basically, yeah. That basically cost CJ the entire set in that match against Jin Air.
That was quite a sad base check.
Didn't roll the barrel, didn't use the Scrying Orb.
Yeah, I guess
Just
nobody wants to stop Someday from taking this turret forward.
Yep, Someday, of course, going to be able to make pretty quick work of those turrets because he does have the Iceborne Gauntlet, so Sheen Brock going to do quite well for Hoppy to be able to work through those turrets. So the tier 2 does go down.
Such a fast Baron.
Yeah, we can see, I mean, it's a Azir Callista with a Devourer Kindred on top of that. Johnny goes over the wall, trying to get a pick. Keep Lyra out of the pit as well.
Yeah, just flashing over to secure it, make sure that there isn't going to be any steal. Probably not necessary with Callista. You don't, normally you would have to make that play.
Yeah.
You don't really have to make that play when you have Callista.
Both parties have to royally screw up. For
your jungler and your Callista. And at that point, you deserve to lose the Baron. So.
Yeah. 40% of your team has to just go completely brain dead for a second.
But yes, that was a great Baron from KT.
Oh, Lyra sitting in the brush. Chani just going to walk straight in, goes in, gets a nice double pop-up on the Songyun in that backside. Mickey going really deep, though. Going to get burned out immediately. Score, finding that kill. Arrow getting aggressed on his Lyra. Isn't that backside, but there's nothing he can do to follow up as Fly confirms that when Magical Journey comes out Someday following through. And that's going to be a kill onto Songyun as Someday finishes him off. And now just Snowflower, the only one left, goes down as well. That's an ace. That could just be the majority of the base going over here to KT. Not sure if they're going to be able to finish the game. They do have 30 seconds at least on Mickey.
I think they can finish this game. And Johnny's going to go ahead and take up this turret. They really want to push as far as they can. Yeah, this is going to be the game.
Yeah.
They have enough time.
Yeah, and the Baron empowered minions, of course. I'm usually so prone to saying, like, oh, that's the game, and then it's not, so I'm being much more cautious. But it actually will be game one, going over to KT. 32.5 minutes. And
yes, more kills than minutes. This is so rare in Korea.
Yeah. You know what? It's because we didn't have one of those filthy lane swaps, Monte Cristo.
You're right.
That led to the bloodthirsty game.